specifically the addition of Porzingis to the Celtics does what for them in a 7-game series against the Heat?
Yeah, it just gives you another option. What did we lament all last year when like shots weren't falling and games get a little bit more grittier? Like scoring against the Heat is tough, right? Like they're gonna do all the funky things and zones with Spoelstra, like things that just take you out of your normal rhythm. It's a lot easier to break some of those scoring loads when you can kind of dump it into the 7'3" guy and let him do his thing. And it's unique too because like Bam's really good. Bam's one of the best defenders in the NBA. He'll be on the all defensive team this year. He's in the all DPOI balloting. But you feel like Kristaps is sort of what unlocks you against the Heat, and it's just giving you that extra option. And they got to put so much attention on him that it's going to free up guys on the perimeter. And you're. The one thing you really feel good about that series is when you start looking at the matchups. Like they can't hide Duncan Robinson and various players on that other side that you feel pretty good about exploiting. Whereas the Celtics, the sort of what sets them apart so far this season is that there's no exploitable matchup for the other team to sort of target. And I don't know how exactly Miami would score enough points. Then again, I thought that last year. I said I didn't think Miami's offense was good enough to find a way to win that series. And well, no need to revisit that.
Did we ask you about Jayson Tatum and his standing in the league? Have we had you on since he had made that statement?
I don't think so.
Okay, so he thinks he can be the face of the league if he has something to say about it and the Celtics win a championship. But we went through it. I mean, I don't think he's any better than 4th or 5th best at the moment.
So who do you put ahead of him?
Jokic, Embiid. Who else did we have in front
for MVPs?
Yeah,
Giannis,
face of the league. Giannis,
face of the league. Giannis,
Jokic, Embiid, Doncic. I mean, these are all guys.
Anthony Edwards. I'm talking about face of the league, not best player in the league, but face of the league. Anthony Edwards. I mean, yeah, but the idea is the next generation. Yeah. So you're eliminating LeBron, Steph, and the older guys.
But the point is that he was asked that at the All-Star break, something you were there for, and we thought about it afterwards. Like, well, no, even if they win the championship,
Wemby.
By the way, you asked the veterans. You asked them at the All-Star break. They all think it's going to be Wembanyama,
Alexander. There's a lot of guys.
There are a lot of guys.
Sometimes that's the way it goes, and we always, I think about it when related to football, and when Brady goes away, everyone says, "Well, who's going to be the next base?" And it just happens. And I do think Wembanyama is like just naturally because he's just such a freak that it's going to be a lot of attention will be spent there, especially once San Antonio turns the corner. But like ultimately, the face of the league are the guys that are on TV every night, and I do think that if the Celtics maintain this core, if they are as successful as they have been in recent years, like Tatum's going to get a lot of face time. I think he's grown more comfortable in being that, in his media obligations, in being able to do the things that sort of the face of the league has to do. Like one of the things that LeBron probably, and I don't want to give him too much credit, but like you have to show up at practice and be able to answer questions that aren't always related to your team. Like you get asked a lot about league stuff, you get asked a lot about world stuff, and I think the face of the league sort of has to be able to navigate that. And I think Tatum's gotten better at answering some of those questions and the bigger picture. I can see him evolving into the sort of guy that is a face of the league. I think it's the idea of like there's one face of the league is kind of overplayed. It's just he's going to be part of that mix of young players that are sort of carrying the torch forward. Especially, you start thinking in the next few years. Durant, LeBron, even Giannis. When Tatum was mic'd up and saying this is your like 11th, 12th year and you're over 30, you forget these things. It's just like how quickly time goes by. And Tatum will just naturally be in a bigger spotlight, and especially when you're sort of lingering in that MVP conversation.
Did you hear what LeBron said about Bronny? Is that he wishes everyone would just leave him alone and let him be a college kid playing basketball.
Something LeBron has not done at all.
I mean, it's asinine.
Over the last 3 years.
He really is something else, that LeBron.
Spent hours and hours talking about his kid.
You pimped that kid for years and years and years.
Cameras follow you to the kids' AAU games so you can get highlights of him out there. My Lord.
The whole notion that he would get drafted is all. Everything about it is. That was really something else. And I even heard professional LeBron James ass kissers go like, okay, All right. Well, we've now crossed the line that you cannot do that. Like Bronny James is not. This is not some creation of the media. This is something that you have spearheaded, my friend. This was entirely like I don't know what Michael Jordan's kid's doing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what all these guys are doing. I mean, there's dudes whose kids have played that they don't face this kind of attention. He would be fine. He would be fine.
Yeah. Look, I get it from a parent perspective. You're trying to protect your kid, but on the other hand, you're right. Like, he created this by suggesting he's better than NBA players, and now you got to kind of live with it. You put your own pressure on him. It's still going to be fascinating how it all plays out, and he wants to play with them, and the fact that it'll probably end up being a potential second-round pick, or whatever, however it plays out. It's very interesting to see where he ends up. Like,
you think he's going to come out? You think that he'll come out after this year?
I don't know if he'll come out this year, but even if, let's say he stays, do we think he's going to be a first-round projection if he stays in another year? I just wonder if eventually whenever he does enter this, and if he's not a more surefire pick, is there a team that's just like, man, it would be really cool to have LeBron for a year, even at age 40, and they just draft him, and I don't know,
the Boston Celtics.
You can't do that to a kid. You can't do that to LeBron James.
That would be awesome if they did it, though.
But LeBron can't do that. That's so cruel.
Make LeBron come here at the age of 41.
But that's just so cruel to do to your kid. Like, literally the only reason that you got drafted was because of me. That's the only reason. And I'm 40. And this is just a year where they're paying you to fly around. You're never going to play. I heard a guy talk. I didn't hear him. I talked to a guy who's in basketball, and he said if Bronny James played 4 years at USC, there's a chance he could be the 12th man on the team. A chance. If he stayed 3 more years and improved his game at the same rate. He said that he's lost this year. He said that he's not good. He said he's not good right this year. He says he has good talent, enough talent and size to play in the NBA at some point.
He's averaging 5 points a game and coming off the bench for a team that's 11-17.
Yeah, he's not good. All right.
Fred, the real story. Give me the Tillman scouting report with your Michigan State.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, he's handsome. I don't know if you've noticed that. He's
all Michigan State.
Well, no, let's not go crazy. But he's got the strength of 10 men. Tillman, he can't score. He never scored at Michigan State. He's just a big, huge guy that muscles around.
Defense.
What do I know?
Defense.
Well, just a big, tough kid.
Yeah.
He's a big, tough kid that played at Michigan State. You're not going to intimidate him.
He's also the nicest kid in the world. I did get a chance to sit down with him this week, and big family guy, and eager to see if he can evolve. I love the idea of him evolving next to Al Horford. So
yeah, the guys that covered him at Michigan State have all. Their praise is unrelenting on how much they like the guy. So he was a big favorite.
It's refreshing when we find a down to earth NBA player, and the Celtics. I would say, for the most part this season, quite the enjoyable group with how good Kristaps has embraced and everything. So yeah.